Oh boy. Well, good evening, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Well, we're just not getting this thing together. There we go. All right. I mean, not follow the fire, catch fire. I guess if I caught fire, that would go viral, wouldn't it? Man on fire here at Jobu's Man Cave. Hope everybody's doing great. Tomorrow's Friday. Another week in the books. And the weekend is almost here. I can't wait to get back down to the Red Brick House and see my baby. Because I miss my baby. And, you know, a little secret here. Years ago, when we first started building houses down in the country, and Tracy was still working with United Way, I would go down there for a couple of days a week. And the amazing thing, as they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Because when you're around somebody all the time, doesn't mean that you don't love each other. It doesn't. But, you know, sometimes you get on each other's nerves. And you need a little time to yourself and a little space. So having a little space there, it makes you realize how much you really care about that other person and how much you miss them. And those little things that, you know, that they do that get on your nerves, you forget about because they're not there. So I'm going to say it's always a good thing to have just a little, not too much, because you don't want them to forget you. But having a little bit of time, because then you value that time that much more. Just saying. The Cowboys. Dan Quinn was 100% right. Dan Quinn, when he said, tomorrow isn't promised. Tomorrow isn't promised. You've got to have a sense of urgency to get things done. Typically, in my life, that's what I do. I try and get as much done every day. Now, that's not to say I don't go through bouts of depression or things where I feel down and just don't feel like doing things. But 90% of the time, I am going hard as I can to do as much as I can. You see it on the videos. You literally see it here all day. People criticize me to say, he does so many videos. Well, I'm trying to get in as much as possible because at some point, I ain't going to be here anymore. I'm not going to be here anymore. And some of y'all may actually want to see me. So this is kind of cool because there's so much of my life that's here on YouTube daily. So you could literally just kind of like every day go back and watch a couple videos, and it's just like I'm still here, because I don't think the things are going to change with the Cowboys. It'll be the same way over and over again. But tomorrow isn't promised, which means you have to have a sense of urgency to get things done. I've gone through. I know I'm not like one of the professionals there, you know, like the radio host and things like that, you know, like in Cleveland, that have insiders giving them intel on major moves. It's kind of funny because Dak Prescott's been called the Black Kirk Cousins, and that the Cleveland Browns were trying to trade for him. Oh, and the real Kirk Cousins is actually in Cleveland today. So I guess they figured they couldn't get the Black Kirk Cousins, so they'll go ahead and get the white one. Maybe that's how it's going to work out. Maybe he just got the wrong Kirk Cousins when he was talking. Maybe that's what it was. He was thinking Kirk Cousins, but thought it said Dak Prescott. Now it makes sense. And that's where, oh yeah, that really makes sense, because Jay Gruden I believe was Kurt here with Jake? No, actually, I think not. Just say because Jake Gruden supposedly texted Dan Salio during our show and said it's true. I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm just trying to make it make sense. It's crazy. But you have to have a sense of urgency because time waits for no man. Nobody. And so if you don't get it done now, you may not have a chance. And that's where the Micah Parsons part of this. Like I was saying, I'm just Joe the fan, in my basement. What I know is, in the past, every single time that we have waited to get deals done, and understand, I think there's only been 2 players in the last 10 years that they've done before the 5th-year option, that it just costs us more money. You can blame Dak Prescott, you can blame his contract, but Dak Prescott's contract's not the only contract out there that's been screwed. You can go down the line with the Jalen Smiths. You can go down the lines with the Michael Gallup that never should have got an extension. You can go down the line with Terrence Steele, who's $18 million this year. Do you realize that? Terrence Steele is $18 million. $18 million. You can go down the line with so many contracts. Zeke Elliott had that $90 million contract. We had dead money last year for him while he was still on the roster. 2 years. We got dead money this year, Michael Gallup. So when you look and you blame Dak Prescott and his contract, make sure you put all the other contracts that are in there that were messed up. If you don't think that $8 million, $8.9 million this year, if you don't think that matters, it does. It does. You don't think that the money we paid last year, dead money, Tyron Smith, that matters? You got about $30 million in dead money. But they need to get this thing done with Micah Parsons. Somebody went through and they were saying that Micah Parsons, I don't believe that that's the case. I believe that it's just going to continue to go up. And if we do like we did with CeeDee Lamb, eventually we get him signed, you get these high contracts. And then the quarterback gets blamed about taking too much money. You know what's funny? What's funny is watching the implosion of Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless has finally reaped everything that he sowed. Skip Bayless, who started a rumor that Troy Aikman was gay. Skip Bayless, the guy who said Jerry Jones called him about making the trade for Herschel Walker. Skip Bayless, the guy who was throwing Zeke Elliott's and Dak Prescott's jersey in the trash. Skip Bayless, literally offering to pay millions to sleep with somebody who thought he was better than Shannon Sharp, and Shannon Sharp blows up and makes buku money. He'll even be here at the autograph signing show next weekend. Skip Bayless, his show, down the drain. Skip Bayless trying to do YouTube, and literally the man who trolled LeBron James his whole career, LeBron James is like, Skip who? Skip who? I've never heard of Skip Bayless. Who the hell is Skip Bayless? Okay. And then Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith getting clowned and literally saying that he would, if he had gotten in my face like that, I would have hit him. This is what I talk about when I say ESPN, when ESPN came around. It was incredible because it wasn't about the sportscasters and their personalities and being a clown show. It was actually about the sports. You would get the highlights and the news and things and could digest it on your own and come to your own conclusion. But somehow sports have lost their way, where it is these personalities that are the show. And I don't like that. I don't like that. They're literally telling you what you should think and believe and so on. It's sports. Let's get back to the purity of just watching a contest. Seeing athletes performing at the highest level. The thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. Those guys are just freaking clowns. And as much as they've been paid, the Skip Baylesses and the Skip Baylesses and the Stephen A. Smiths, Stephen A. getting $20 million, they don't really matter in the sports world with the athletes that are the ones that are really out there, that should be the ones being covered, not those jackasses. I, for one, am happy to see Skip Bayless finally get what he deserves. Yeah. You know, when the pendulum swings, sometimes it swings too far. And I think the sports talk shows, because, you know, we've seen how Speak. I used to like Speak for Yourself when it was Marcellus Wiley and things. But somehow it became Speak, the clown show with Shady McCoy, who's a freaking idiot. And Joy Taylor and all her. Now, let's just say all her and all that stuff, where that show is devolved. Undisputed, gone. First Take, meh. NFL Network, about to become part of ESPN. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. I'd like to get back to sports being sports instead of the daytime drama. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. And as always, you know how we roll. Remember, tell the people you love how much you love them. You might not get the chance again, and I love you guys. Peace out.